what there's wrong to be.
What's up, guys? Our wrestling podcast back at you with another episode. This is Dave Vicious, along with Jess, the Total Package, Craig, the British Bulldog, and Cuz, bringing you our perspective on the world of professional wrestling. No inside sources, no ties to the industry, just stories from the diehards, sharing opinions with you. Someone feed me today's topic.
WrestleMania 37 Night 2. That's what we're talking about, Dave.
That's what we're talking about. For audio fans, give us a listen on Apple, Spotify, SoundCloud, iHeartRadio, Stitcher, and Google Podcasts, or watch our videos on YouTube at Our Wrestling Podcast. On social media, give us a follow on Instagram or Twitter at O.W.P 2019, Facebook at Our Wrestling Podcast, and because this was your favorite night, wasn't it?
It was, especially the first match. God damn it, I love it. But, you know, we'll talk about the best match maybe first.
We're still rolling into the main event first. That's what we'll get into. Is there anything you guys want to call out about the night itself?
I'll just simply say that there's been a lot of talk that this match took a long time to get going. And I think overall, 2 nights WrestleMania is a good thing, but this was definitely felt like a bit of like the day after hangover. It was tough to get started. It was tough after the emotion of the first night. I think that had a lot to do with, I think everyone, we joke and say everyone worked hard. They did. There was a lot of aggression, a lot of people working very hard, and a lot of fun stuff. I think they were set up a bit to kind of fail, especially coming off the first match, which we'll talk about in a little bit. But overall, it was still great because of these 3 guys in the very main event that lived up to the hype completely, just as night 1 did for the main event. Night 2 sent us home happy and a fantastic, well put together match, which I just loved.
Really so, we'll start right off with this was the main event for night 2. It was for the Universal Championship, a triple threat. Roman Reigns defeated Edge and Daniel Bryan in a shocker. There's a lot of backlash that I've been reading for not going with the Edge feel-good story, especially with the way they handled Drew the night before. You kind of thought that, okay, they're going to give you the go-home story on this one with Edge. Edge's pop was insane. People were actually booing Daniel Bryan. I never thought I would hear that unless he was a heel. But they didn't do it out of disrespect. They shoehorned him in here at last minute too. And he had lost every match leading up to this as well. So it's like, you're kind of like you lose every match and then you're like, well, I can still be better though. It's like, no, you've lost all of them coming in. And it's not Daniel Bryan's fault. Everybody knows what we all are, what I feel about Daniel Bryan, what you guys all feel about him. He's amazing.
We love him.
He's amazing. We love him. So obviously he didn't hurt the match quality, but storyline wise, I can kind of understand why people are like, boo, like you couldn't just leave well enough alone. You couldn't just give us a one-on-one of the story that we wanted. Roman has been doing such a great job the past few months. He really has gotten comfortable in his role, similar to like what I talked about on night 1 with Seth. Heyman knows exactly when to compliment his character, but I mean, like Heyman doesn't know what he's doing in there. He's a master. This was a great, great match. The ending was super shocking. Grade A, solid A for me.
I'll take it a step up. It's an A+. I mean, this was the match of all matches. This is, we'll probably argue it at the end, but I think the best match out of all 2 nights. And there's something I texted you guys when you were talking about how great Roman was as a heel. I said his best work is now. It's the best work he's ever done. He finally took out the stupid chest plate, for a bit. He's shredded. He looks amazing. He's a big asshole in there, which is what you want. He came in there with just this huge chip on his shoulder, punished these guys, and made a statement. And the statement is, I'm going to pin both you sons of bitches, and there's nothing you can do about it. And I'm going to walk out of here and say, what'd you think was going to happen? What'd you think?
Well, it's about time they used the Lesnar formula on someone else besides Lesnar.
Yeah,
Like the whole
perfect,
time they
man.
were,
He's
they
perfect
have
for
the
it.
heel booking down, and I didn't really realize this till I read it this morning, even though I knew it in the back of my head. The obvious, comeback feel good story was Edge because he had a career ending neck injury, came back 9 years later. Same thing with Daniel Bryan. He had to retire for 2 years. He thought he was done. He came back, and Roman Reigns beat leukemia twice. So
Yeah.
this is insanity that all three of these guys
Yes.
with life-threatening injuries or illnesses are in the main event of WrestleMania 37, and they had the
That's
match
the
that they
comeback
had.
story right there.
The only
that's pretty
difference
insane.
between the three of them in that realm is that Daniel Bryan and Edge, they're the sun is setting on them. The sun is shining brightly in the realm of career wise right now with Roman Reigns, and everything. Even though people didn't think it was going to happen, everything that should have happened on that match happened the way that's how you tell a story. That's how you carry on the next generation, and that's how you make Roman Reigns literally untouchable for probably months. Like you're not going to be able to put a finger on this guy in the realm of even having a chance of beating him. And we need dominant heel work like that in this kind of industry now. It's not about the good guys anymore. It's you need to chase. This is the classic chase that WWE was never fond with. But because they did this, I was so freaking happy. I had no idea it was going to happen. And plus, he pinned both of them. He just, I'm going to digress over here. And
Just
you're going to wait. And you're both going to take this pin. And I'm going to walk
It was
away.
a dominating
and say,
performance.
What'd you think was going to happen?
If you
A+.
take the shock off the ending, he could still have a one-on-one match with Edge. We still haven't seen that yet, so that can happen.
That's true.
And
And
a lot
that
of
could be
people watch
an A+ to an A match as well. It
And
probably
Edge
will be.
can win. Edge can win if
And that would be
he
great.
needs to. And then
It would be even
Roman
better.
can take it back.
I
But
hope
yeah,
it doesn't
it's-
happen personally, but yeah.
Me too. I see what you're saying on that, and for sure. So I think when you take the shock away of this, people are like, "Oh man!" But I think more people follow Roman now than they did before because he's being shoved down our throat before. I think people were really wanting that moment for Edge, but I'm like, you know what? I think the true professional in Edge, the actual fan of professional wrestling, understands. What if I lose? What if he wins?
Yep.
Like what? Why do we have to do this? Why do we have? But it wasn't a bullshit, like Daniel Bryan got beat or something like that. It was nothing. It was straight up Roman just doing what he did, beating him, pinning him in the middle, and standing up. And I was like, oh, and Uso's a little shit. I actually hate him, not because I don't like him as a wrestler. He's a little fucker.
Right.
He keeps coming like, son,
Yeah.
I think I said in the beginning of the match, I'm like, will someone control Uso? Like I was mad, like it was real. I'm like, someone control him. Like this is bullshit.
Yeah.
So I loved it. I just loved every second of it. It was a great match. Craig, go ahead.
Yeah, I give it a solid A also from bell to bell. Like it was chaos in the beginning, the broken chair piece and that
Oh, I forgot about that.
that shot at both of them.
But it was planned.
S-lock
It was
and-
planned, right?
and
It had to be.
It was. I think so because there were other because there was no reason because he went to go get the chair and Roman quickly just took it off him and was just like my chair and then it didn't come back.
And it took Edge a minute to get both chairs. You heard him.
He was
ruffling
looking for the
around
right
with it.
chair. Yeah.
And even the announcers were like, "Oh, he's got multiple chairs in his hand." And I was like, "No, he was looking down when he was using both of them to rest. He was looking down to which one was gimmicked." So like,
Which
I'm
one
like
was
that.
gimmicked?
I didn't even think about it. I thought he was just selling and he was just taking his time out there. Like, and then he got in there, and I was like, "Oh," I was like, "Well, that's fucking weird." But then when he left that particular piece in there and then pulled it, I was like, "Ah, I get it." Like.
So well done.
Good shit.
It was great. From that to the concertos it was violent. They beat the shit out of each other. They hit each other in the neck when they've all suffered neck injuries or 2 out of 3 was, and then it just ended in that shocking valley. with
Daniel
just
Bryan's
a pile
headbutt
of bodies.
across like Benoit style across the ring. I was like, oh my God. Like when he headbutted him.
And what a difference a couple years make. No one was angry that Roman had his hand raised at that end and like with the fireworks. Remember a couple years ago, we would just be like, again, forced down our throats. Like, we're okay. Like,
and don't forget,
it's become
Daniel
a long
Bryan,
way with Roman.
Daniel Bryan holding their arms and stomping their face into the mat.
Yeah,
that's why he got the boos. He was being a heel.
I'm like, bro, like settle down. Like you're gonna hurt somebody.
And then also because there's so many good things to talk about in this match too, but like because we're all naming them right now, and also that Edge kept up with the pace of these guys who are younger. I know Daniel Bryan probably relates more with Edge because he'd been around for a long time in the Indies before he even went. But like, man, like and then Roman to keep up the pace with those two, like I was just impressed with all of them.
At their level.
Edge being out for 9 years and learning this pace, like it's like he never lost a step, for crying out loud. And why is everybody WrestleMania colors white? Seth wore white one year. Randy Orton wore white trunks on this one.
Totally.
I'm like, why is everybody's WrestleMania color? They're like, I'm gonna wear the white today.
Triple H did those white boots. Yeah.
Yeah,
He did.
Seth Rollins. Yeah, you're right. Because what do
But
you
I-
guys?
yeah,
what
go.
say you?
Man, I think I'm gonna give it an A plus.
Yeah,
I think it is my favorite match of the whole both nights. Man, everything like Edge, like you said, Jess. I think he was the pro in the back. He said, "Why am I going to win? Have him win. Have your new up. Well, he's not up and coming no more, but your younger dominant
Your
heel.
top talent,
Let him
your
win.
top tier
Why
talent.
ruin that
Yeah.
thunder right now? He's doing such an excellent job as a heel. He's doing a great job as a heel. Daniel Bryan, he got those boos because, man, when he looked down to stomp Edge, he's like, "Oh, you got a hurt neck, huh? You got a hurt neck, huh?" He started fucking stomping. That's why he got those boos.
That's
man.
what we
Daniel
were
Bryan was
joking.
fucking-
He's like, we're like, oh, you got leukemia? Stop,
you got leukemia. Roman Reigns on. But you know what? Hey, I would have said because of the heel winning, maybe it should have been switched. Maybe they should have main evented Saturday night and the women's Sasha and Belair main event.
To give you that
tonight. But at
feel-good,
the same
happy
time, like you guys said, people were booing Daniel Bryan. There's people cheering for Roman Reigns, and they were cheering for a heel Roman Reigns getting that victory and a dominant fucking victory at that. So yeah, A+.
And by the way,
It's
every time
awesome
they
match.
started to boo Daniel Bryan, like Daniel Bryan was so much fuck you. He goes, "Oh yeah,"
and
and then he would still couldn't get him
and
to
at the least
yes
because
after
of because of Roman being a badass and an asshole in the ring, it makes you say like, well, now I want to see who's going to take this fucker out.
By the way, there was a portion I totally forgot about.
Great
I just want to throw it
storytelling.
in there too because this match was so good. There were portions of time where Roman was outside of the ring and when he gets on the steps and gets ready. I think he basically powerbombed Bryan into the table. He absorbed all that negativity and just waited for it.
Yeah.
And then he did it and he's like, what? And I'm like,
Yeah.
he's so good right now. Like he took all of that and then did it and then said, what are you going to do about it? I'm like, he's the best heel, probably the best heel in the business right now. I can't think of anybody that's really that close. And that kind of stuff.
How they can fight it for so long is beyond me.
I don't know.
It's die, Rocky, die. Die, Rocky, die.
Yeah, it's exactly.
What do you
that.
feel about that? I feel like fuck these fans for telling me to die. Like I was broke. I lived out of my car. Like this is horse shit. I had to. I'm training around all these legends because my last name, so people are harder on me. Fuck you. Why don't you say that?
I'm just trying to tell people, like in
and then it
in
just kind of
instance,
happens. Like it just kind of
in that instance to sit there and wait for the crowd and wait for them to give you the response. And then do what you're going to do takes so much self-control that most superstars can't even fathom. And Roman Reigns understands that. I'm just saying, he's amazing. And we would 4 years ago, we'd be like, this motherfucker. Like,
yeah. Would you ever say like, I'm actually considering getting a head of the table T-shirt? It's like what?
yeah.
I'll get one.
I
might get one. I got to buy into his merch now. Yeah, it's good stuff. Sorry,
for them.
It's the main event. And it was the best. We got to.
So Dave, who hosted WrestleMania? By the way, we didn't get to
Whoa! I think we were trying to avoid that. It was Titus O'Neil and some other guy. Is what I would say. Titus did a great job.
Yeah.
And on night 2, they
Titus
were wearing
and a
pirate costumes, but on night 1, they weren't wearing pirate costumes. So my conspiracy theory was like, did the pirate costumes get wet on night 1? Did they just decide to get pirate costumes from night 1 to night 2? Why these pirate costumes?
I think somebody was getting booed so badly they tried to overcome it with pirate costumes. I'm just saying.
Shimmer me timber,
and it wasn't Titus. R matey. It was funny when Bailey came out and said, "Are you trying to avoid me?" He's like, "R."
Well, I don't know if you want to talk about it now because we may or not talk about the segment. So in the middle of the card, they marched out the Hall of Famers, and so we saw the Bellas. And then afterwards, they did that segment towards the end, right before the main event, right before the match that we just covered, where Titus and Hogan pretty much said, thank you, good night, here's the main event coming up next. So Bailey comes out. The crowd's really into Bailey, by the way, and her character.
Yeah.
And the Bellas came out and threw her down the ramp, and they booed the Bellas, and I laughed and laughed and loved it. I loved it.
You're right. It's fine because Bailey made a good point. She's like, I'm the only person, I'm the only superstar that was on WrestleMania both nights. Like active superstar. I'm like, good for you, Bailey. She was so annoying, and like my daughter's like, I hate Bailey. She's the hell. I'm like, you're supposed to. That's the point.
Yeah, that's her whole thing, and she's so good.
She's
and
doing
again,
a great job.
Down the ramp.
Another one like Seth and Roman, who are just loving the heel and being a heel and making fun of what they used to do, and she's having fun with it. And oh my God, what a notion! Oh no. Like that's how you get stars over. That's how you get people to know like who they are. So in 5 years, they're passing the torch rather than just like, remember that whole generation that they flushed down the toilet because they kept trying to shove Roman down our throat. Like we can't say that anymore about Roman. He's working. Like it's all working right now.
It's all working. And Bailey's working. Seth is working.
So yeah, we're gonna go to the beginning. We talked about that
Skip
fucker
this match.
Hogan and getting booed and the shit and whatever.
RLT.
So now we're gonna start off with Randy Orton defeated The Fiend in 5 minutes and 50 seconds. Look, I'm going to step off my high horse here. I put Sweet Lord Y. That's enough of all of this. Great F. Go on, Dave. I'm sick of this shit. I'm sick of it.
Wow.
How do you fuck The Fiend up? He has the best look and he has the best entrance. How do you fuck him up? And he's a talented wrestler. How do you fuck him up?
There's
I'll tell you how. They do exactly what they're doing. They basically make him wrestle all his matches in vignettes, and then when they actually do make him wrestle a live match, they put the fucking red light on, and like, just stop it, like, quit it. Enough.
I texted that out during the match, and I knew it would just make Jess so hot, make him hot about it. I give it a D-. I mean, you know, and the only reason why I give it anything other than F is because there's something really special about The Fiend when it comes to everything but the match itself. I mean, the interest is fantastic. That's love the problem. Oh yeah, right. The prop work, the music. You know, the way he can just take people over and control them. And even
Dave,
even
I had fantasies. I thought they were going to make this the next level of three faces of Foley. I was like, oh, they're gonna. Here we go. This is the Bray Wyatt character is gonna pay off now because he's got his old Bray Wyatt. He's got the goody one that hosts the talk show, the kid show, and then he has the
chart
Fiend.
up one.
I was like, dude, here, the goody guy is the face. Make him a legit face, and then make Fiend the heel. And you know who they are, you know, but he doesn't want to admit it.
Talk about back
they could have done that.
That sounds
hell.
amazing.
They could have had one on Raw and the other on SmackDown, and you would just have to tune in to see what evil shit the evil Fiend was going to do, and then the face Fiend or the Bray Wyatt face would be on Raw. You could do so much stuff, and they were like, "No, we're not going to do any of that."
I hate to be that guy, but you can have them all at the Royal Rumble in January. I mean, you can just do that.
You could do so many things with it that I was like, dude, this is going to be really fun. And Bray's into it and he's talented. And then they just make all of his matches vignettes where his opponent is not really his opponent. He's obviously working, cooperating, being in the skit. And it doesn't make any fucking sense. Like
the ending just made no sense at all. Nobody understood what was going on. We're like, why is this happening?
And by the way, do you notice after at the end of this one, like when she was sitting on the box and then Fiend was staring at her, the lights went out and then it cut away. And then went to a commercial or something, whatever, because there's commercials in WrestleMania now. So I went to commercials, but I guess when it came up, they both had disappeared, but the crowd was booing so heavily. That's why they cut out really quick to the commercial. And every time, like during when they would do a backstage segment and they're playing a video for the crowd, people on live said every time they showed The Fiend or Alexa Bliss, they booed really loud. And I'm like, yikes. Like, that's not a good look, folks. Like, that's
they're not happy about it.
Yeah,
it
they're pissed.
Makes sense.
Yeah.
So D-. What you got? Criggers.
Yeah, I give it a solid D. I think to all of your points earlier, and I think we talked about it before we hit record, the expectations of a feed match, it's always a lot of fun until he's got to perform, and then everything in your head about the cinematic and the vignettes and the spiritual stuff
they overthink it for
the
God's
special
sakes.
effects. Then they can never fulfill the expectations that you want. It might have worked first couple of times, not now, and not on a big stage right there.
The comparison of it, but we talked about it before you came on, Jess. This is the Undertaker that we absolutely hated. He no-sells everything because they've booked him. They've pushed his storyline that way and his character that way, where he can't take a move. He never gets stunned. Like, come on. Like, he gets up for everything. He doesn't respond to any move whatsoever. That's not fun. Like that, I don't want to watch that. And they've pushed his character. None of this is his fault unless he's actually said, no, this is what I want to do. I want to stiff everything. Like all
their other matches leading up to this have been some kind of gimmick match. So their big climax payoff match at WrestleMania is a regular wrestling contest. And they traded holds at the beginning, by the way, of the match. And I was like, what are we doing here? What the fuck is this? How do you go reverse? Of all times, I would actually be okay with an Inferno. This should have been a fucking Inferno match because it was based around people lighting each other on fire. It writes itself. It writes itself, but instead they're like, no, we're just gonna have a regular rules professional wrestling match.
Well, we had
Randy Orton dog pound match, maybe.
We had some
and the dirty heel that burnt him alive is going to win with the wrestling move cleanly. So he's not even going to get his revenge fiend, like for being burnt alive. Like,
Well,
it
Sister
makes none of
Abigail
it makes
showed
any sense.
herself. Blah 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 blah. I don't know.
Guys,
Yeah,
Alexa
right? Yeah,
Bliss took all his power. That's why he
That
wasn't
shows-
feeling it before.
That shows
and
the
then blah, blah, blah.
laziness. The laziness
It
of
was all in
both
the
opening
black goo.
matches. Both opening matches ending with the guy getting distracted. I give it a D minus. I will say though, Alexa Bliss did give it away in the promos leading up. She did say that Bray Wyatt can't control someone forever, and they kind of like, they on the promo package they kind of highlighted that. So like you kind of knew it was going to happen, but it was still stupid the way it happened. The goo coming out of her head.
Why does the
like
the
all
crown
that
of
stuff?
thorns?
She should have
that's
just low blowed
spewing
him. I would have just
black
taken a
blood?
low blow, Randy Orton RKO.
Well, why?
There you
Yeah,
go.
why does that release her from him? I don't get it. I don't. Did she
It's
kill
her
herself?
releasing
It's
her.
like, it's
Are
a
they
horrible
still-
idea to show
control-
kids.
Like he can't.
Are they still
control
paying the
person.
lease on the Papa Shango black goo pump? Because like they've been using this a
that
lot.
makes
Like
sense.
Vince is like, oh
D
fuck,
minus.
we're still making payments on this thing. We got to use it.
For 5 more years.
You
Vince.
sound like the Death Star. That thing wasn't even paying off yet.
Ah fuck, I didn't even know we still had this. Alexa, put it on.
Shame.
Goo's coming out of her. I don't care.
That's
I'm disappointed in everything, and this is not the way to make Randy Orton put other people over and in the later
Nope.
stages of his
certainly
career.
not a good opener.
And yeah, it was absolute trash, and it's everything that's wrong with this company that can still wants to relive Undertaker and Kane and Lightning and shit like that. So we'll move on to the next one. The
Even
next
King
match,
got his fire in later. Gosh, yeah.
he did it successfully, I might add. Yeah, he had more fire in it than the match that should have had the fire. Nia Jax and Shayna Baszler were the women's tag team champions. They defeated Tamina and Natty, who won the tag team turmoil from the night before, making it completely irrelevant that they even wanted to challenge in the first place. Not that I wanted Natty or Tamina to be champions. 14 minutes and 20 seconds. It was just an okay match that was way too long. Tamina messed up a body slam. Don't get me wrong. Nia is a big stack of pancakes. Nia Jax is a big stack of pancakes, but if that is your thing and that is the spot, come on, man. It's a body
You
slam.
have to,
and you're the biggest.
You have to get it.
You're her size anyway, so you should have pulled it off successfully, and you did not. Shayna saved this match. She is so underused. I give it a grade
True
C.
that. I give it like a D plus. I mean, I am so angry. I didn't even think about this until just now, but the fact that Tamina and Natty get 2 nights of WrestleMania is a really
Oh, that too. So Bailey was wrong.
Yeah.
That's true. She was wrong. You're
Shit.
right. Yeah, we just said Bailey was the only
What
one,
a
and she
flop.
wasn't. Good
And
point.
actually,
He's
now
not
that I
a
think
pro
about
then.
it, Hogan and Titus were on the first one too.
but they're not.
so
They're not. They're
yeah,
not. They're not active superstars. Yeah,
That's true. And they weren't a heel trying to make a point. That's true.
yeah. It's all good.
That's-
But you're right. She was wrong now that we think about it. But because it never came in my head, like they actually got to wrestle.
That's
Of
funny.
is there anyone more deserving than them to wrestle on both nights of WrestleMania? I think I can pick a few people. I think I can figure it out. Yeah. So what I say D plus
Lana,
because yeah, I can't believe that they went for a slam and they couldn't execute it. And even Jess said, if you miss it, like do it again. Like you could argue that you didn't get it all and then you do it again.
Yeah,
and you
or
finally
hold your
pull it off.
back and sell it like, ah, fuck, I pinched something, and then come back and slam her or whatever. Like,
Yeah, like and they didn't even
Fuck,
bother. They
Jesus.
just kept going. Like when you mess
Nia
up a
jumped
move, do
for it
again.
too. Like, just
yeah,
as bad.
that's because Liz laughed. She's like, "Well, that was a botch." I'm all, she even jumped for her. Like,
Yeah.
like
I want to in my mind. I giggled because like
That's
maybe
how
she
bad
jumped,
Tamina
but then
is.
she dead weighted her. Like she stiffened up after she jumped and made her drop her.
I'm
And,
gonna come for you.
Yeah,
I am super
It's
annoyed
horrifying.
that they don't use Shayna Wright on the main roster. However, I would rather them use her like this and not bury her. And they're not trying to bury her. It's like they know
Yeah.
they want to do something with her and they're holding off right now. They never put the title on her, which is cool because I guess something to look forward to. If she finally does do it, she could easily be like what Lashley is on the men's division, or she could easily just choking everybody. She could be the next Angle.
What writes itself here is eventually they're going to lose those titles and they're going to turn on each other and they're going to Nia and Baszler like Nia doesn't have to hold back against Shayna Baszler. Like,
I
she can hold her
hope
there.
they do. That would be great.
I think that's what's going to write itself in about 6 months or less.
I'm fully prepared for the flack I'm going to get for this, but I gave it a B. I
Defend yourself.
I liked it. I thought it was there was a lot of aggression in it. I thought they were brutal with each other. I enjoyed it, and I was caught up in the realism, and to the point where I was like, I don't think Shayna likes Natalia. And Or like, I think I saw a tooth fly out. Like I thought Natalia's face was like broken. There was a couple of moments I was like, whoa.
She did hit her.
I
so
like
hard,
Shayna,
right?
and you know what though? Shayna, that kick has hit many people, and that she's knocked teeth out of many people, like with that kick, legitimately.
Yeah.
I don't remember.
I was surprised that Natalie wasn't even bleeding when after it happened. I was
Dude,
I
that
thought
was
for
brutal.
sure she lost some teeth.
She's got to be careful about that because I do like her a lot, and maybe that's why they hold her back from the top. Maybe they're like, you got to calm down a little bit,
Slow down a bit, yeah.
you know.
Yeah.
Because if people do get on Naya for that, but I'm like, man, Shayna kind of hurts everybody every time that she goes out there. But it depends on what you want to.
You put the two like most injurious wrestlers, women wrestlers together in a tag team, the ones that hurt the most.
But for some reason, it's more acceptable with Shayna because like she'll get in there and bust her own mouth open.
Match.
Like she
doesn't have eyebrows,
and she still
have eyebrows.
But you know, there's another thing that really bothered me. I totally forgot about Craig. You didn't even bring it up. Like you gave it a good grade, but it brings it even further. Like, why would someone like Naya be working a body part? Like, why are you working the leg? Like, you're the big man or the big lady. You should not. Like, what do we? Someone should be.
They should be working your leg.
Like, I don't get that. Like, who's writing this stuff? Like, come on. I just had to put that in there. Go ahead, cuz. Sorry.
No worries. I give it a
Craig,
solid
you give it a
C,
B?
because I enjoyed the match. You know, mainly because Shayna giving you those moments where you're like, oh god.
Yeah.
But,
the ankle stomp too.
The ankle stomp, everything. The knee to face.
Yeah, she's really good at that stuff. The ankle stop and make it look like she.
And then the way they ended it with
She
her
did
coming
do a
up from
leg slap
behind.
though. Vince is going to talk to her about that.
Yeah.
That was legit.
Damn it. That's why
She doesn't care. She's like, shut up, Vince.
That's another milk
Shut
just
your
going
mouth.
off on one of those
Okay, I'm sorry.
made up stories.
Yeah.
But yeah, I give it a C. Like I said, I like the way it ended with Shayna, you know, coming out of nowhere, creeping up behind Natalya and choking her out.
Because are you saying the no
went
legs?
over.
Are you saying the no leg slap is the made up story? Is that what I heard you say? I just want to make sure.
I mean, they were doing it all night on NXT, so
No, I thought you meant that Vince saying not to do it was a made up story.
I think it is because they said
There was a sign up. There's a picture with a sign up.
Was that a legit sign? Was that legit?
Yeah.
I don't know.
Backstage?
Yeah, so like you could do Photoshop so good now. I don't know if that's a legit sign or not.
Because
I saw
like I
that
said,
today too.
everyone on NXT was doing it, so that kind of told me that.
He's not going to stop it. It's like it's
The NXT,
ingrained
that's
in
what they
these
do.
guys.
I mean, Shawn Michaels helps run NXT, so of course
Yeah.
Shawn's like, slap your leg.
Vince,
Everybody
they
knows
could do
that.
it right. They could do that.
Shawn, what's the answer to that? Slap your leg.
Slap your leg,
Everybody knows.
You do the eyebrow. That's terrible.
RVD,
Sorry,
you were
move on,
charming.
move on.
You were funny.
We spent way too much time on this.
You're
one.
charming, though.
You know, that's a backhanded compliment. Sorry, it's a shoot interview for RVD.
Oh,
where he
Shawn
ripped
was
Shawn
funny.
Michaels.
It's hilarious.
So yeah, this match was you know, and it was the second match from the leading off the night before, so they kind of had a storyline within the night, which again I liked,
Yeah,
but then just the execution kind of
worked
fell
hard.
apart. I don't know, but they worked hard. The
Work
next
hard is
match
C-
is
is a C grade.
Kevin Owens defeating Sami Zayn with Paul Logan in his corner, 9 minutes 20 seconds. This was the SmackDown show stealer, which is kind of what made me originate that they should have had SmackDown one night and Raw the next, because this was the Cesaro and Seth match. It's what it was meant to be. It's like they had that two indie darling kind of thing going on, and they wanted to tear the house down. No titles on the line, nothing like that. It fell short, in my opinion, of what they wanted it to be and how they wanted it to hold up against Seth and Cesaro. But it was a really good, solid match, though. There was some stuff that I hadn't seen KO do for years, and he did.
Yeah,
and Sammy,
yeah.
Sammy reminds me of Cesaro in the sense it doesn't matter what shit they give him, he makes it over. Like, he owned this character, he grew his fucking hair out, and he fucking wears the cargo pants, and he preaches, and you know, like, he owns it, and it makes me sad. It makes me sad, like, you know, like Mizdow, or, you know, like people like that, or Bad News Barrett is another one. I see those people, I'm like, like, they're getting over right in front of you and you don't even notice it. Like, you don't even notice that they're taking your shit, which I thought was the point, to build character. Here, take this shit character, see what you can do with it, indie darling. And then he does something with it, and they're like, I didn't even see. What did you do again? Like, it's fuck, man. Like, how do you not know that Sammy is not, like, killing it right now? Maybe they got bigger plans for him. I don't know. He did have an IC title run recently, so what am I bitching about?
What was your grade? I don't know.
But I want to mention, I said this to you guys several times, KO's shirt was fucking cool. I love that thing. That was awesome. It was WrestleMania 5 logo, but yeah, it was his 5th WrestleMania, so it was KO 5. It was awesome. They know that they need to push KO, but I still believe to this day they don't know exactly what they have with him. They won't bury him, and I'm not saying you should. And I hate the stunner. being his move. So I gave this match a
We've talked
I
about
gave,
that for we've talked
yeah,
about
I
that
gave
for
this
months.
match a solid B+ because it was really good and they did a lot of cool shit off the top rope.
Yeah.
And it was these guys have a history together and they were great.
Yeah, I put it at that B+ mark too, slightly underneath the Seth match from the day before and Cesaro. But I love these guys. I talked about briefly in our last podcast that we watched a lot of these guys in the indies runs in those bingo halls. We watched both these guys in PWG, if I'm not mistaken, paying $20 in a bingo hall to watch them as El Generico, right? Was the one was Sammy's character.
Yeah,
forever,
El Generico.
right? And you know, when he was like $120, you know, and all complete orange, even from head to toe, like this orange one suit, almost like a gimp suit. Really, but he was doing amazing moves even then. And to see those guys at WrestleMania, it really kind of hits me in the feels, you know, because I feel like we watched those guys and nurtured their career by supporting them by going to those bingo halls and driving 2 hours to see them. And that's what we did when we were younger. And now they're here, you know, and they made it. And you kind of feel like a piece of you is with them. But I still give it that B+. Right, I do hate the stunner, but I think it was the best stunner he ever laid out on Sammy, and then the cherry on top with Logan Paul. That was the payoff because everyone's like, why is he there? I hate him so much because he is that YouTube darling that for some reason gets paid a lot of money, but nobody likes him. So it's the perfect catalyst for KO to stun him at the end. Because
And that was a good moment, actually.
It was a great moment. It'll be a WrestleMania moment, to your point, Jess, is what we'll see Logan Paul going, hey man, good job. And then you shook my hand, bro. Come over here. Let me stun you real quick. And I love that portion of it because they pulled off some moves, like you said, you hadn't seen in years. Great match. It goes the way it's supposed to. It gets paid off. And it was a great stunner, even though we don't like him with the stunner. Then Logan Paul gets the comeuppance, and we got a moment. And B+.
And much like Cuz ruined the ending to the cage match for me, Kevin Owens actually ruined his match for me because last year he was doing it, but then it got put in the Performance Center because of the pandemic. So he was threatening to jump off the pirate ship on the thing. And so a day before WrestleMania this year, when they released the set or whatever, there's a smaller pirate ship under the big one. And KO's like, choices, or something like that. And I was like, don't do it if you're not going to do it. And he didn't even go outside and try. So I know obviously he's never going to jump off something that high. But I was like, man, maybe there's something he's going to do off of it. But no, he couldn't.
Choices.
So in a fun way, he disappointed me on that one because I was like, damn it. Like, I really wanted to see something off the pirate ship. It's like that scene on The Simpsons where Homer's like, they're all, come on, Homer, let's go. And he's like, no, I want to watch that guy. And it was just it was a big fight scene, but one guy was standing in the corner not doing anything. He's like, I know when he does something, it's going to be awesome. And then Marge makes him leave and he hears a loud, hi-ya! Like that. He's like, oh, and he didn't get to see it. I feel like that was the pirate ship to me. And Cuz texting me going, he's going to power slam off the cage. I'm like, oh, like when it doesn't happen. I want to see pirate ship power.
What do you got, Craig?
I give it a B+. They certainly didn't need Logan Paul, but I guess it's you got to fit that in the attraction. He's one of the biggest, most popular YouTube stars. Blah 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 blah. But they have 20 years of matches together. They don't need him. They kept cutting to him. It kept making me angry. But I guess you got
the cuts were really bad because he had no reaction. Which was,
he sucks. But he took the stunner well, so I guess he did his job and knows that he was supposed to take it. And he sold it at the
end. He was like shaking his head like he was knocked out.
I like his
stunner. Did you hear what he said too? He's like, "Why did he do that?"
Yeah. So I was like, "Shit, that's kind of likable." But also the promo package before it was great, and then Kevin Owens during the impromptu weather delay interviews on night one cut a really cool promo about their 15 years together. Yeah. So to wrestling purists, you didn't need it, but I guess if it added a bunch of fans to Sammy and Kevin by putting that piece of garbage in the ring, then that's fine.
Paul Logan was going to talk about it on his channel and stuff, so he spoke about it and stuff. So if it gets a set of eyes to look at these guys wrestle, and now they're wrestling viewers,
what's wrong with that?
Yeah, bring it on.
Yeah. Same with Bad Bunny.
B+, and same thing with Bad Bunny. Paul Logan, he's got like Logan Paul, he's got 26 million subscribers on YouTube. That's 26 million people that might be talking about Kevin Owens and Sami Zayn. I hope so. Yeah. They deserve it. They deserve the attention. Sami Zayn, he has me glued in with his character. I fucking love the character. It's fucking great. He's so good as that heel character too.
He made it work.
Everyone's against me, bro.
He makes it work. Yep. The stunner, the same thing. Yeah. I don't care for Kevin Owens doing that. I don't want to see him doing a stunner. I don't want to see anyone doing a leg drop, elbow drop, as their finishers. But you know what? I think Logan Paul, he might be another one. If he actually, I don't know if he's gonna work programs after this, but I think he actually has it in him to be able to put on great matches with guys like Kevin Owens and Sami Zayn. He's such a good athletic,
He's a performer. And
he's a
athletic,
performer,
yeah.
and exactly, since people don't like him, he's like naturally a heel. He would be a fucking great heel to go up against Kevin Owens, and I think he would actually be able to put in the work and have a great program with him. But
And his brother's a
what
legit
it all
boxer now that's actually getting wins, right?
well,
Like,
they
like
both
him
are.
or not,
They both were boxing. They're both still boxing.
jeez.
YouTube stars.
Wow.
But hey, maybe if something good like that comes
Hey,
from it,
Kimbo
for
had a pretty
Owens.
damn good name off that.
Yeah, he did. His brother,
Backyard brawls were right.
Logan
Yeah.
Paul's brother's actually going to fight a UFC fighter though coming up.
Oh shit.
That's gonna be a boxing match, but
That's a different animal.
That's another animal, yeah.
Yeah.
But I hope it actually leads to that for Kevin Owens and Sami Zayn. If it leads to something big with Logan Paul, that'd be great for them. But B+ either way.
It's always good, and you got to think like social media influencers probably are going to be more apt to jump on the wrestling bandwagon because it's quick. It's a quick satisfaction for both.
Yeah,
It's a quick payoff for the influencer, but it also helps WWE get popular with the younger crowd and the people that just like the oddity kind of shit that you get on YouTube and Facebook and all that stuff. So I'm fine with it in the sense of as long as it's controlled, and I just want to see the celebrity pay respect. Bad Bunny paid respect. He was a big fan. He insisted on training for the last 2 months. He wanted to get it right. I don't know how Logan Paul was like, with the whole thing. It seemed like he was cool with it, and especially the way he sold at the end or whatever. So if their attitude's good, I'm all for it. Like I don't want,
you know
I
what?
just don't want anyone
There's
that-
actually
that's gonna
fan
disrespect.
footage. There's actually fan footage. Someone recorded from their phone from the crowd, and he was still selling it. Like the referee was helping him back there with the trainer, and he was going, "Oh, yeah," like he was like trying to talk to the fans. People were trying to get his attention. He's like, "Oh, what?" Like he was still selling it pretty good. He was
He
doing a
faded
good
all
job.
the way to the back. Good for him.
That's cool.
All the way to the back. Yep.
But so the next match here, this is why I argue with the placement. You have the Intercontinental Championship, or sorry, excuse me, the United States Championship match is next. It's right before the IC. I didn't like the placement of the US here. I kind of thought maybe it should have been on night one, or the IC title could have been on night one, but that's neither here nor there. Sheamus defeated Matt Riddle, who was the reigning United States champion, coming into this match. Riddle is so talented.
Yep.
It's ridiculous how good he is. He's the future for sure. He's really good. It was an odd match on paper, but honestly, like Riddle stayed with Sheamus, and Sheamus were around the clock back like 3 or 4 years on himself to have this performance here. He worked really, really hard. I haven't seen Sheamus work this hard in a long time. And I don't mean that he's fought through injuries over the last few years. He was a tag team a lot. Even which they botched the spot from the top rope where Sheamus had him up across his back for his finisher. But Sheamus slipped and recovered perfectly, and because he's so damn strong, and then he hit the white noise anyway. You almost didn't notice it. I mean, obviously you kind of noticed someone not so gracefully falling off the top rope, but thank goodness he landed on his feet, and it wasn't a big of a botch as it could have been.
And Riddle didn't try to struggle out of it. He stayed with it.
Yeah, he stayed with it, and Sheamus he impressed me so much with this match. I liked it probably more than I should have, to be honest. And that brogue kick at the end when Riddle was in mid flip was fish. It was awesome, man. Like, and he busted Riddle's mouth open the hard way too.
Yeah,
I give it a B-, only because there were still parts where you could tell it was like oil and water, but I was more. I mean that as a positive B-. Like Riddle is doing really well. I don't know if I wanted him to have a title first, but the U.S. title doesn't really mean anything anyway. But I didn't think he got hurt at all by losing to Sheamus. Riddle's the type of character that can lose, and it's totally fine because his whole character is just him being laid back, man, bro. It's cool. It's all good. I'll be back tomorrow. And like, I love it when he rides up on a scooter and he goes, like when it's so fucking funny. I don't know what it is about it. And I love the RVD coming in the back because RVD was kind of that character for us like 15, 20 years ago. And, so they were both like, what? No, I'm cool. Like, and it's just like,
bro.
Yeah, but Riddle is so fucking talented. Like he really is, man. Like, and he somehow made no shoes wearing cool. I don't know how he did it. But B- for me.
Croc wearing all the way up to the ring.
Yeah, and he flips off his
How
shit.
does he do that? I actually I'll give it a B. The only thing that I really disliked about it, and Jess kind of talks me out of that a little bit more, but I didn't understand Sheamus taking the title at this point. I was hoping that Riddle would ride through that. but the match itself was awesome. Even on WrestleBotch, if you go to Insta, they showed the botch. They're like, I know this is technically a botch, but it doesn't really look like one. Even WrestleBotch kind of said, I don't really want to call this a botch. He recovered so well. Because you can argue that even
He
though
almost bails on it himself.
yeah, and even then, like the ropes are probably super wet and slippery still. It's been wet all those 2 days, so I don't even know if that's Sheamus' fault. They probably should have thought about not executing that move and changing it to white noise from the ground anyway. But I really don't fault Sheamus for that. I think it's a tough move. He's strong enough to pull it off, but I always thought Sheamus was shaky on the top rope anyway. In my opinion, even when he doesn't have somebody up there, so I thought didn't think it was the best idea. So that's one reason. And
It was
like you said,
it was that WrestleMania ambition that got into him right there. He's like, I'm gonna do it from the
that's
top
what
rope.
We got to pull up all the stops,
Yeah. So, but even then, it was hard. It was snug. Solid B. I just wish that Riddle would have taken it. But back to Sheamus and the shape that you were talking about, he was in, Jess. I mean, I don't know if you've watched some of the stuff that's kind of like not like the bump, but sort of. He puts in some pretty vigorous workouts when he was injured or on recovery. He was putting active wrestlers to shame with the amount of cardio work that he can do inside of 40, 60 minutes. The guy was working his ass off to get back to where he was. And I kudos to Sheamus for taking another title off somebody, so many years later, he looked great.
Yeah, I give it a solid B also. I think it's one of the best matches I've ever seen from Sheamus. And I haven't seen a lot of Riddle, but I never got him. And I guess I kind of get him now. He's a very, very talented guy. So I think for both of those, like I was just pleasantly surprised from this match with both of them. Yeah, you don't see Sheamus kind of wrestling that style. And then I just didn't know Riddle was that kind of athletic and beyond his brogue kind of gimmick. Like I liked it. Solid B.
Yeah.
And awesome. Brutal, intensity, and they went toe to toe and brutal.
Yep, I give it a B. Great match. I enjoyed it. The bro kick was amazing. Riddle, his character, it is funny, and he's the stoner bro, like he's the RVD. But we didn't mention we brought up RVD showing up backstage, but what about the exchange with him and Great Khali where they kind of like. I don't know if you guys saw or remember that. Remember he's like, "What if you like made a store with like giant clothes and toilets and blah blah?" He's like, "Yeah."
He said toilets.
Khali was just looking at him, and they were looking at each other. He's like, "No." And then they just like they paused right there.
Nothing, bro.
Riddle looked like
but
he
it was
wanted
funny
to
because
laugh.
Khali's manager was a translator, and he translated for him when he walked up. He's like,
and
"The
then he
great
walked
Khali
away.
says he's a big fan of yours." And he leaves, and then he asks him the question about the store, and then he's like, "No, can I get a translator
Yeah,
here?"
can I
And then
get
he
a
runs back
translator?
in.
But Riddle looked like he wanted to fucking laugh. That's what's funny about that.
Yeah.
But I want to, Riddle is a former UFC fighter. He's a former MMA fighter. So I actually kind of hope it's kind of one of those things where it was like Kurt Angle. He came in, he was goofy. He was trying to be pretending to be a baby face, but you knew he was a fucking shit-eating heel. I want to see, but then Kurt Angle eventually turned into that serious wrestling machine. I actually hope that's what they do with Riddle because
But
I think that'd be
first. They learn how to
waste.
be funny first and have humility first, and then they go, because that's pro wrestling. So it's like, okay.
That's what I'm hoping
Angle
they
says
do.
on all of his podcasts, he's like, at first I was so confused. How can you get a gold medalist? And pretty much just like you mention it, but you make me be like this chicken shit milk drinking heel, and then I learn it's because like they wanted me just to like become a character, and later there's plenty of time for that, and then when they turned him into the badass, people didn't want to boo him ever because he was Angle. He was scaring people.
That's why I'm saying with Riddle, like Riddle has that potential, and I think it would be a waste to not eventually convert over to that where he's going to be that serious like badass because he can be because he's an MMA fighter. So I hope they do that. But great match.
That's a good call. I hope it happens too. But you didn't even mention the RVD rolling papers, bro.
Yeah, bro. RVD was
great
there.
marketing.
That was cool, man.
Fucking.
That was good.
We need to get some O.W.P rolling papers. Maybe get sponsored that shit.
Surprise.
So the next match was the other secondary title here. Apollo Crews, with his brand new gimmick, defeated Big E to win the Intercontinental Championship in a Nigerian drum fight, 6 minutes and 50 seconds. It should have been called a Nigerian steel step match because that's all they focused on. Why gimmick this match? Why gimmick this match? I feel Apollo and Big E were robbed of the chance to shine with this bullshit ending and stupid gimmick. I get why they did what they did to protect Big E, which is the right thing to do, I guess, if they're going to do this. But come on, 6 minutes and 50 seconds. What are we doing here? These guys have so much more in them than that, and you should be putting more stock in Big E because he's amazing. His fire and energy you felt when he came down, like you just felt it, like especially getting in the ring, making the get up, like making them get up and cheer. Like he's got everything you would want in a top star. I fucking lost myself.
You graded it what?
Yeah, whoops! I lost myself for a second on the sentence. So I gave it a grade D, unfortunately, because yeah, I feel like 6 minutes is not enough for these guys. And then like they had all the other shit, like the drums and stuff down there. Not one person got their head dumped in it like a trash can.
No,
I thought something was gonna happen.
I'm a fan of the fact that
I hated the big guy at the end too, like coming in, and I guess he's from the underground. You remember when they used to do the Raw Underground shit or whatever?
Yeah.
He's like one of the big. He was the big dude from the Raw Underground segments, which I didn't really recognize him at first. I was just so annoyed. I was like, you already have a tall and small on Raw, and they're way better than that. And like, I just feel like they're straddling Cruz with this gimmick, and I think the gimmick's too heavy for him. And like, I just think that a lot of stuff, like, I'm glad they're giving him a chance, but I was so disappointed. I
have a bit of a theory because you said they wanted to protect Big E, but there's something going on here that I think obviously I think they felt like they've missed the boat with Apollo Crews and they're forcing this gimmick on him, and he is immensely talented and he deserves more. And what I'll say is the portions of him with the Kimbo stick where he pretty much destroys it over Big E, like that one segment was absolutely incredible. You didn't know which way it was going to go. And when you see the ending, it does totally protect Big E. But I'm hoping, because I'll give this a B- if the whole point is this is now Big E's world title push starting now. Because you got to drop that title eventually for that to happen. You're not going to go all the way with it. This is not Ultimate Warrior times. It hasn't happened really since.
Big E and Roman, SummerSlam, do it.
I'd pay for Big E and Roman.
Yep.
Yeah, and we'd go. We'd see that live if it's close enough. So what I'm saying is, I think it's Big E's time. It's overdue. We all say it. We text each other all the time. Big E's overdue for a world title run. He would be fantastic against Roman. He could definitely pick up the pace for a big man, and it would be a great main event match wherever you put it. So I'll give it a B- if that's where it goes, and you give Apollo a decent chance to run with this as a heel, and he's got someone with him to make him an even bigger heel that's going to have a lot of heel finish. I'll take it even with the stupid gimmick that they threw upon him. That's what I'll say. But I'm looking at completely different from where you're at, Jess. And I thought it was pretty brutal. It was for 6 minutes. They really
I guess in the long run, as long as they both get shots, it's fine. I just felt like it was odd that they chose this short of a match. And I don't know. I didn't mind the ending only because, I did mind the ending because the match was so short. If the match was longer and the guys got to wrestle for the Intercontinental Championship, like I like to see them take title seriously, then if that ending happened, okay, they're protecting Big E. He got cheated. Obviously, some big mofo came in there and chopped him down. That reminded me of Great Khali a little bit. And
I'm just hoping there's an Apollo rematch where somehow
his knees aren't caving in though.
There's more interference from the world title holder, and he starts getting put in the world title picture or something.
All these knees are crazy.
That would be great.
I like this match. I thought they put it was a long 6 minutes to me. I didn't realize it was that short. I thought
they hurt each other pretty bad. Yeah,
they beat the crap out of each other. I think they made the most out of their moment. I didn't know what a Nigerian drum match was, but when they cut to kind of the shot with all that stuff around the ring, I was like, okay. And they still didn't use a drum except for
which I'm happy they did.
The big gong. But kendo sticks and the steel steps, I gave it a B. I liked it for what it was. I thought it was fun.
Yeah,
and again, for the second night in a row, we had another kind of a Zeus-esque kind of big old character come out of nowhere.
What's up, Tiny? What's up, Tiny?
What up, Tiny? So it'll be interesting to see where it goes from here. And I hadn't heard Creed's Nigerian accent or seen a gimmick before.
I was like, what's going on?
In my head, I was like, this is terrible. And then I was like, okay. And then my wife actually Googled and is like, his parents are Nigerian. And then she's like, but he was born in Sacramento. So, but I think they're doing whatever they can do with that gimmick.
Craig, it's like when you get around your parents and the accent just comes out. Right?
Yeah.
Yeah. That's what it is.
That'd be
like King of Booker for some reason.
King of Booker.
Cuz what say you?
I give it a big fat fucking F. Because for one, it's like
See?
that's cool if you want to have him embrace, show his heritage. Why give him a fake accent? Why do this stupid gimmick drum match? Like, it's so stupid. I want to take him serious. I want to take him serious while he's also embracing his, Nigerian heritage. Let him be, because he's a fucking badass. He is a badass. Look at him. He's in fucking great shape. He's
super
strong.
talented.
He's agile. Yeah, he's super talented. Why not
He's
let us
amazing.
take him serious instead of do Nigerian drum match and shit like that? Like,
That was awful.
what's the point? I hate
It's
it
off.
when they did Elias musical melody mayhem match or whatever. I don't like these stupid gimmick matches like this. Like, I give it an F.
Not
And
for the
I feel bad,
Intercontinental
and it's not their fault. Yeah, not for the Intercontinental. And
Yeah, it's not
their
the
fault.
drama.
It's not
The
their
D
fault
that I'm
either.
giving, the D that I'm giving it is not their fault. I
But-
absolutely love Big E. I'm glad Apollo. I guess I could be more optimistic. He's getting a push. Apollo is. He's great. I do like Apollo. I just come on, man.
I can't do it
Come
because
on.
it's like I don't like have him fake the fucking whole thing, like the accent and everything. And now all of a sudden you want to fucking wrestle Nigerian drum matches? You didn't 2 months ago. But I mean, I don't know. I just think I don't know. It's dumb. Like, let him do that, but without let him still be him. Let him be Apollo and not like a fake with a fake accent, fake Nigerian with a fake accent. He's a real Nigerian. His parents come from Nigeria, but let him still be him while embracing that. And yeah, big F, not their fault. Vince's fault.
I want to change my grade to an A minus, just
Book this
to
match.
be
I've
like
always wrestled
complete
those
opposite
in the
end of the
Olympics, like,
spectrum.
running
'Cause
Nigerian drum matches.
I'm glad we're finally
Great.
on a match. We're kind of all split. The next match is Rhea Ripley defeated Asuka to win the Raw Women's Championship. Man, they just shoved Ripley right on Raw a month ago, and she just gets a shot out of nowhere. And since she lost to Charlotte last year, she's actually been kind of irrelevant on NXT as well. So I was really, like when they started putting all the stock in Bianca Belair versus Sasha, they were like, oh, fuck, yeah, we're going to, let's put Rhea Ripley on Raw, and then she can challenge Asuka, and there we go. And I didn't like the push from the start. I'm a huge Asuka fan. I think she's great. I don't know anything about Rhea's character, though. I don't know. I don't have a reason to relate with her. This reign's going to fail for her. It just will. Asuka looked great and actually excited for the first time in a while, even though I like her character. Again, I think her and Shinsuke, they gave up on Vince just like Vince gave up on them because they're like, fuck, like, we're better than most of these people in this ring. But then, like, when Asuka started doing the laughing and all the stuff and the silliness or whatever, Vince is like, that's what I'm talking about. And Shinsuke started doing, like, even though Shinsuke was quirky from the beginning, when he started just being funny with it when he was teaming with Sammy, then Vince, you could tell, is like, there we go. And I'm like, no, whatever, Vince. Like, you don't understand it. Like, with these guys, like, you're pushing them the wrong way, in my opinion. Because I have more respect, right? And it's his company; he can do what he wants. But the 1.86 Raw viewership, so that's all I'm saying.
All right.
But Asuka, like, she's wonderful. They both worked really hard. I gave this.
There it is.
I just felt that they didn't click, and they both worked really hard. They did. I know that's a funny joke, but they really did. Asuka looked, like I said, better than she has in a while, and Ripley is talented, so I don't want to shit on her. I gave it a C+ to a B-. We have a new champion. We have a new champion. So what, though? It's going to fail. I'm just calling it now because they have no juice behind her character. Blair got all the emotion and all the this is what she's supposed to be. And they gave Rhea none. They gave her nothing. I mean,
well, here's the issue, and I'll give the match a B because it was good. But the hard thing that you have to do is you have to compare it to Rhea Ripley and Charlotte Flair from last year, and it just doesn't.
Which they were fantastic.
It doesn't.
That's how I know
hold up.
Rhea's worth it. That's how I know she's good.
Yeah, I know, and she's great. Rhea Ripley's going to be awesome. I hope it doesn't fail, Jess. I hope you're wrong there, but I understand what you're saying.
I would like to be wrong.
I want you to be wrong, but I'll give it a B for the match because it was really good. It wasn't as good as I thought it was going to be. They didn't mesh as well. I think there's something to having equal size. So Charlotte and Rhea work kind of perfectly, and Charlotte's great anyway, but that was probably one of her best matches ever because of Rhea being able to match her last year. But then what happened was Rhea had some issues with her passport, right? To my understanding. And
yes,
she disappeared.
that did stint her.
So
push
that
too.
really screwed her up. So when she, like to your point, when she comes in a month to WrestleMania and they put her on the scene and everyone's like, who's that? That's what happened here. They don't know who she is.
I'm also not being fair. Yeah. I'm also not being fair that Charlotte got COVID, and that's why Charlotte was going to somehow factor into these plans, whether it was going to be a triple threat, or not. I don't know.
Or it was
but-
just going to be Charlotte, and they had to throw Rhea in there. You know, well, Rhea was in there before Charlotte was announced with COVID, right? She was already kind of in the storyline, or not?
I don't know. I think they brought Rhea in to pacify that because obviously her lover pants Andrade got his release. So I think that was probably stinging a little bit. And then
I
all
think
of a
to your
sudden,
point, there's more to the COVID story than the COVID itself. So
because
Rhea was
when
put
she
in-
announced she had COVID, Andrade made some kind of text or not a text, like he texted me. I'm like, hey, what's up, Andrade?
What's up, Andrade?
Like he made a post or
He's like,
something
"You don't-
saying she was already like a week or two into her illness. So she had plenty of time, in my opinion. I don't know, to test
get
negative
better
and be healthy and be a
yeah.
Mania. I just think that it all kind of played. I believe she had it. I don't think anybody would ever fucking lie about that. I hope
But
not,
there's more
anyway.
to it.
But
There's more to it.
But yeah, I think that it kind of tied in perfectly with her honey pants leaving and all that stuff. So I think it was Charlotte's way of being like, I'm gonna take a fucking break right now because you guys are being ridiculous. And I think maybe
That's hard.
why.
That's hard to walk away from WrestleMania.
That's
though,
me
I'll tell you that much.
speculating. That's me speculating. But go ahead, Craig.
It's a lot of speculation. Yeah, Craig, what you got?
Well,
Yeah, what you got, Chris?
I liked it, and I didn't know why the crowd didn't, but it did take away from it, and I will give it a
Because they don't know Rhea.
I'll give it a B- also. Yeah, absolutely. And you could tell.
And you like Asuka,
they
right?
were-
Because she's done such a
Yeah,
good job
love
this
them.
past year at being a fun character and just, making jokes and dicking around. I didn't want to boo Rhea because she's supposed to be important, but I didn't want to boo Asuka either. It's weird.
Yeah, they cheered Asuka, and they didn't, and they showed Rhea nothing because they weren't invested, because it was hot shotted, because they.
Oh, Craig,
you
do me a
could-
favor and talk about her live entrance. I forgot that you want to talk about that.
Oh yeah, because her song's kind of metal and annoying anyway, so why not have like the metal band kind of screech it out live and have her come out?
Instrumental
and-
was good, but yeah.
It sounded like the song, but I was watching it. My wife, who had lasted 1.5 days of WrestleMania with me, and then that was the point she got up and she tapped out. She said, "Good night, enjoy the rest of your WrestleMania." So it was Rhea Ripley's entrance theme live with brutality that my wife tapped out.
That
at
taps out
WrestleMania.
the average viewer, VKM, just so you know.
Yeah.
Our wives who put up with us for wrestling are like the total perfect average viewer. If that's when they tap out, Vince, that's when y'all that's when y'all messed up.
It
They
was
all
just-
walked out at that point. They all
Yeah, I
stopped
do.
watching.
Most of the time, my wife will be like, fuck this shit. It's just in general. But then, like, when I see her react positively to something or negative, I'm like, that's how I know it missed or hit the mark. When it's something that she's like,
Yeah.
oh, that was real. And I
That
was
was
like,
cool.
oh, okay.
Yeah, that was cool. Yeah,
Yeah,
exactly.
it was a missed opportunity, because I think they can work well together, and I think they did. It was just, and I think the hangover was in full effect here. Like all the emotion of both nights, it was getting late on the second night.
Yeah.
If not, I mean, we're
It was
only
cold
moments
out there
away
for them.
from. It was, yeah, and we felt it at home. It was just like I wanted to like it, and I did, but
I still did.
it didn't
Yeah.
click.
What was that? What the grade you give it, Craig?
I think I gave it a B minus or a B. So
I gave it
said
a B.
B minus.
You did B
Thank you.
minus, and Jess was like C plus to B minus.
Cuz, what was
I
yours?
mean, I'm gonna give it B minus. Just for the work alone, because the work was good in the ring. But once again, like Kurt Angle, he had the best rookie year because within his first year, he's won Intercontinental, European Championship, and the WWF Championship. Now it's like in two nights, you had two people that haven't been on the main roster for a year, and they both won the titles. It's now you're taking away from that impact. Oh my God, the best rookie year ever! Like now everyone's having the best rookie year ever.
yeah.
And then on top of that, you're putting on people that they've been in NXT for a while and they've shown that they can hang in NXT. But when you're on the main roster, it's a different ballgame, and it's like you're almost setting them up to fail. And it's almost like, I hate to speculate on what Vince is thinking, but Vince
get
like,
all of that, but
I
there's-
told you guys they couldn't handle it. You're NXT darlings. Ha ha.
I'll push back a little bit on that. I see what you're saying, but you also have to argue. Finally, there's no Becky at WrestleMania. Finally, there's no Charlotte.
Well, yeah,
at
and that's why they
WrestleMania.
had to do this too.
But they
Finally,
earned it,
there's
though.
No
That's the
Triple
thing
H,
is-
Shawn Michaels, Undertaker.
Oh,
it's
thank
time
you.
for
They
it's
did,
time
but
for the youngins to come up.
I don't want to see everyone that comes up in their first year win the fucking title right off the bat. You gotta have that slow burn too.
Yeah, I
with
want
some
him
guys.
to fight for something.
Yeah, but I don't know. It's not because whether they can handle it or not. It's just because we know what happens when you put the title right away on that indie darling, and then something happens, whether they get injured or if it just falls flat because it happened too fast. And then Vince is like, this is why we don't put titles on the Balors and the Rheas and the
Even
Belairs
though
of
he
the
made
world.
the final decision on everything.
You know?
It'd be somebody else's fault.
Yeah.
Yeah,
So,
whatever.
but That's
well,
my
so
grade.
overall,
B-minus.
I guess we can go around real quick too.
Yeah,
because
overall.
we're right back in. We're right back in the triple threat where Roman Reigns defended his title. So we have two questions.
Yeah.
I think we need to answer. All of us need to say what night we favored over the other, and what was your favorite match of the two nights. We'll start with we'll just answer both questions at once. Dave, you hit what was your favorite night and what was your favorite match?
Favorite night was night 1. Favorite match was the triple threat on night 2 for the universal title. That's my favorite.
Craig, what do you think, Craig?
I will go the same. It was yeah, the exact same. Night 1 and Roman's victory over Bryan and Edge.
So freaking good.
Cuz
Same thing. I mean, you can't argue it. That's what it is.
I mean, you could try to make an
Night
argument
1.
for Bianca Belair's match, which was amazing.
Yeah.
that's where I'm gonna go. I agree with you guys. Night 1 I thought was by far better. Not that there was not hard work on night 2, but I thought Blair and
worked hard.
Sasha. I thought Blair and Sasha was the best match. And
The
to
best
say
match.
that they were better than the triple threat, I mean, both were on such a level that each match, if there was no other good matches before, could have saved the night. That's how good each match was.
Well,
Like,
just
Yeah.
the fact that it was a singles match, 1-on-1, and it was regular.
I really like
rules,
that, and I
they-
know we talked about that
traditional.
on the last one. But there was so good psychology in the triple threat too, with the bar that broke from the chair. Using that
So
was great
good.
psychology. I
But
love
then Bianca's hair at the end.
No, that
too
I was gonna say
amazing.
Sasha. When Sasha's a heel, I love it because she used to do that shit with Bailey. She would put Bailey in like the face lock and step on Bailey's broken hand, like with her heel and stomp it. And I love
So
little
good.
things like that, like the way she would catch Bianca's ponytail, which you see how long that thing is in every match. I'm like, when someone Monsoon used to say it all the time, or Ventura used to say it when a wrestler had long hair. I can't wait till someone grabs those locks and rips it off, whatever. And it was like the whole time I'm seeing Bianca on NXT.
And no one's grabbed
And
her
I'm
hair
like,
that I
somebody
know
to
of
grab
until
that
then.
motherfucking
Yeah.
thing, and then Sasha started grabbing it right away and like stopping
Like 4
her.
times she got
It was
a hold of
awesome,
it, right?
and I was like,
Yeah.
that makes sense. Like this, I love little genius things like that, and a lot of little things they did. The close count where Bryan pulled out the referee right before Edge was going to get his moment, like in pin Roman, and then all of a sudden the ref just
That was
slides
awesome.
off the camera, and I'm like, what the fuck? And then you see Bryan like kind of smiling because he pulled the ref out. It was awesome. Like I was like, damn it, like
No,
so
no
good,
DQs, bro.
think,
It's all good.
so good.
Yeah.
I think one
I
more
know that
question.
dirty Uso.
I think one more question, and I'll start off. What is your grade overall for WrestleMania? I'm going to give it a B plus. First major WWE event in over a year with fans. That just made it so much better. You got the fan reaction. They worked hard. They all worked hard, and they put on the best that they could with the circumstances they had. All of a sudden now, a few weeks ahead, being told they're going to be performing in front of a live crowd. The weather delays, the raining, the improvising with the promos, everything. I give it a B plus overall, all around for the whole.
I'll tell you
WrestleMania.
something. I'll give it a good B minus. But if you take Natty and Tamina off the show, I'll give it a B plus. That's all I'm gonna say.
I'll give it a B plus. I think the 2021 season of the sport that is wrestling has begun as of tonight, the day after WrestleMania, and I think it sets the table for an exciting kind of future. And if only for the emotion of seeing fans alone and the last 12 to 16 months we all went through, like that. Just I left it with a smile and loved every second. So B plus.
Yeah, I was so happy to see the crowd back and everything, and I give it a solid B. And dare I say, make it happen, Vince. I think they should do 2 nights from
They
now
should.
on,
Every year. Every year.
but not inflate it. See, I like it because night 2 was only like 3.5 hours, and I loved
Yeah.
it because I was like, okay, that's perfect. I can Saturday night when it ended, it wasn't even quite 4
Us
hours
old
Saturday either.
folks can keep up now, right?
Well, yeah, I could go to sleep and recharge, right, and then look forward to the next day.
And do it again.
And it's the same event, but it's not, So it's and if the weather was bad
you
one
wanting
day,
more.
you got day 2. Yeah, it makes you wanting more. And but I know Vince, he'll inflate it, and then all of a sudden both nights will be 7 fucking hours, And
Yeah,
it's
I
like
know.
because that's what Vince can't help himself.
NXT
But I
will
really
be
wish
10 hours each
Wrestle Kingdom does 2 nights, and I think that this is WrestleMania is
Yeah.
often heralded as the greatest wrestling extravaganza of all time. So I
Make
say
it all
do 2
weekend.
nights. You figure out the rest of the schedule. You figure out how to move the Hall of Fame around. The NXT takeover can be on Thursday. You figure it out. But I mean, I think personally, I think it should be 2
It's
nights. I
already
think.
a week. It's already WrestleMania week.
And then you're
You
going to
can
get
figure it
double.
out.
So when you start selling out 80,000 seats, you do it on Saturday and Sunday. That's pretty fucking impressive. I think they could do
That
it.
is.
Do you think they can?
Oh, yeah,
Do you
they
think they can
can.
do it both nights?
I think so. Maybe that's the only thing holding them back from doing it.
Dallas is going to be the test. Can you?
Well, that would be hard. If you go to a place like Dallas trying to draw 100,000 people back to back, that's rough shit. But I'm sure you make package deals, right? People are going to be in town already. They're going to want to go to both nights.
Yeah.
So, you can make it work.
And some people might want to go just Saturday. Others might want to go Sunday.
Yeah.
So you'll be able to fill it out that way too.
Then they'll pull the Vegas shit on you where you try to just stay one night in Vegas and it's $1 billion. But if you get 2 nights, they'll be like, we'll make it cheaper for you. So he'll have little package deals, Vince will.
Yeah.
I'm fucking spelling it out for him.
I hope so.
Vegas better be 2024 is all I got.
Financially, he's in trouble, so he needs to do something.
Yeah, Hollywood. Yeah, Hollywood 2023, and then hopefully it's Vegas in 2024. That would be dope. That stadium would be sick. Total Wrestlemania. So, for audio fans, give us a listen on Apple, Spotify, SoundCloud, iHeartRadio, Stitcher, and Google Podcast, or watch our videos on YouTube at Our Wrestling Podcast. On social media, give us a follow on Instagram or Twitter at O.W.P 2019, Facebook at Our Wrestling Podcast. This is Dave, Jess, Craig, and Cuz with the O.W.P signing off. Have a good one.
Oh, the O.W.P is great.
It's great.
Themselves oppressing your own cognitive function eliminated. Conversations of checks were growing and originating because of your own weak and fragility. Such a man in this world will swallow you whole and victimize you. To those who wish to defeat